Hey, Indian River faculty, Scott here with a short video to give you all the basic information you need to close out first semester in grades and to start second semester. Marking period 4 ends on January 27th, and all marking period 4 culminating assessment and final grades are due on January 30th at noon. There is also a definite final grade Google Sheet, and I've sent you the link in the email that had this video. That also needs to be completed by noon on January 30th. You're supposed to list all of your students who had final grades of E for your class. If you happen to list a student that you think failed and then something happens that the student ends up passing, I need you to remove the student from the Google Sheet, and I need you to email the counselor immediately to let him or her know that the student did not fail, because the counselor may have already made a schedule change based on the fact that he or she thought the student failed. All right, so this is the E-grade calculator slide that I've used before, and I think this is pretty helpful for everyone because it gives you some scenarios. So really quickly, just a reminder, the E-grade calculator is only to be used for a student who fails for the final grade numerically. If the student passes numerically for the final grade, you don't use this at all. In order for the student to get credit using this calculator, a student needs to pass 2 out of the 5 marking periods, marking period 1, 2, 3, or 4, and the culminating assessment, and the student needs to earn 0.5 points because that is a D. It can't be 0.49, can't be 0.48, we don't round up. It has to be a 0.50. So look at the first line for a scenario. The student gets an A the first quarter, but then fails the rest of the way through. This student did not pass 2 of the 5 quarters. I think this is where the E-grade calculator may say that the student gets a D, but the student did not pass 2 of the 5, so the student still fails. Look at scenario number 2. The student did pass 2 of the 5 marking periods, but he only got 2 Ds, so that's 2 points. 2 points divided by 5 is only a 0.4, therefore the student keeps the E. On lines 3 and 4, the student did pass 2 of the 5 quarters, and the student did earn enough points to get a 0.5 or higher, and the E-grade calculator would tell you that the student earns a D. You would have to override the final grade and change that to a D. In line 5, the student did pass 2 quarters, does have the points, but let's say the student does absolutely nothing marking periods 3, 4, and didn't do anything for the culminating assessment. As long as you have had conversations with the parent, with the student, with administration about this throughout the semester, you could potentially still fail the student and give them an E, but that would be a very rare situation. And then of course, line 6, I just want to bring this to your attention. The student only passes 1 quarter, but numerically the student has a 66 average, which is a passing grade of a D. So that student earns the D no matter what. You wouldn't even use the E-grade calculator. For students who pass your class numerically, but they fail because of attendance, you would need to override the final grade to an E and mark comment W10 for marking period 4, which is failed due to attendance. You should be receiving the list of students who are granted or denied extenuating circumstances probably a couple days before January 30th. So it's very important for you to look at that information. Also, if a student does get a D using the 4.0 grade calculator, you would need to override that final grade to a D as well. Neither of these things happen automatically with failure due to attendance or the E-grade calculator. You have to override those final grades. Remember, please take care of all those I's from the marking periods 1, 2, and 3. We don't want to have any I's on the final report card. And please do not give an I as a final grade unless you've talked to me about it first. Remember that if you have any grade changes from marking period 1, 2, or 3, now is the time to give me those grade changes. Please don't wait till January 30th to do this. Remember, all the directions on the how to do grade changes are on the cheat sheet that I've given you before. If you have transfer students, let's say a student came to you in marking period 2 from Deep Creek High School, you need to make sure that you've entered a marking period 1 grade in your grade book so that final grade will be correct in your grade book. If you have that student that came from Deep Creek in marking period 2, remember, you do not have to give me a marking period 1 grade because I can't even put that on the report card because the student was physically not in the class at that time. If you are missing any transfer grades when the student transferred to you and you didn't get anything from the counselor, please email the counselor. Don't wait till January 30th to get those transfer grades now. And again, there's a cheat sheet for how to enter all those transfer grades. Any questions about culminating assessments? I'm going to defer to administration, so please see them if you have any questions regarding this. Just a reminder for scheduling for the 23-24 school year, the counselors are going to start scheduling students on January 17th and move all the way through February. Students are either going to be called down to guidance or the counselors will be coming to specified classes. All those teachers have already been notified. On March 3rd, the students will receive the course request letters listing their 8 classes that they signed up for. This will also be loaded into Parent View, and students will have until March 7th to make any changes. For the start of second semester, all students should check their student view on Wednesday, February 1st in the morning before they come to school to see their new classes. This is their new schedule. Please do not send students to see their counselors during that first week of school without their counselor giving the okay. We're going to be super busy down here. Do not let a student stay in your class if you cannot verify that he or she is supposed to be in your class. If students want to make a schedule change, and we're not making many schedule changes, they should just email their counselor. The counselor will send them a Google form, and then the counselor will take it from there. Please do not tell students, this may not be the elective for you, you should go to guidance to change, because we're not going to change the student out of the class. We just don't have room and we don't make elective changes. And then finally, when you look at your class list for second semester and you see maybe a student that you've already had who failed with you before, if you don't want to have that student again, or you feel like that student would benefit from another teacher, please email the counselor and he or she will see if there is another class to put them in. But please don't do this until January 30th around noon, because if you email us now and we make the change, we're making so many changes, the student may get flipped back into your class without us even knowing it. All right, that's it. Just remember, all of my cheat sheets are located on the Indian River faculty page under school counseling tab. Just scroll all the way down to the bottom and you'll see all kinds of good information. And of course, if you have any questions, please let me know.